Well, first off, I just want to mention this is not going to be some doom and gloom video, even though I'm going to title this Silver and Destruction of the USA. Actually, I picked up another fact from some major CEO that was retiring that gave me pause to think, because I generally ignore the freaking drama queens and doom and gloomers left and right because they're always predicting doom and gloom. But, I just got to remember where I think the USA is going, though. Overall strategy is less power, less clout in the world, but not lack of importance. That could be, but then again, even the powers that be that are directing policy, they don't even know. But but either way, we can either go back to a simpler time, two up on a motorcycle, right, instead of freaking one in a $80,000 sports car or something. It's like, it doesn't mean you're not going to be happy, okay? That's what it really means. It doesn't necessarily mean you're not going to be happy. You're miserable if you think about this crap all the time. But I'm going to give you a heads up on some things, and I'm also going to address some of the rumors out there. But first, I want to give a word out to Hillary Clinton, the potential presidential candidate. It's never too late to ride a chopper. Lady, you ought to retire from politics. You ought to get in there with dykes on bikes. Get yourself a chopper and have a lot of fun. Do some anti-aging, whatever the hell it is, because we know you're all just, I don't know what the hell it is, man. I don't know, somebody hit her on the head when she went to school, and she went from a Barry Goldwater Republican girl to a communist Marxist and a lying doo-doo lady. So anyway, it's never too late, Hillary. So just a word out there to give you some little impetus that no matter how old you are, whatever the hell it is your age is, you can you could just skip the politics and go ride yourself a chopper, get some dykes on, join that group Dykes on Bikes, and the hell with it, right? So anyway, the one thing is, we know we got a problem kickstarting the economy, and a lot of the women are out of the workforce too. Actually, a lot of women are out. There's more women out of the workforce not participating in the workforce, I think, in decades. That was a big thing, like get all the women in the workforce and it'll help the GDP. Now it seems like the women are actually some of the first ones to get chopped off the workforce. And I could say, maybe there's not enough jobs out there, but then again, you got to create your jobs. One thing I put out one time before, and I actually liked this video I put out a long time ago. I don't know how many views I got on it. I haven't looked at it in a million years, but it was about cottage industry. At the turn of the century, at the beginning, the dawn of America, everything was cottage industry. Everybody was doing stuff on their own. It was like a mom and pop shop, or just a pop shop, or just a mom shop, A lot of the women were into, sewing and yarn and stuff. I mean, it's amazing, like, a lot of women aren't into sewing today. I'm like, wow, man, what happened? Because it's like a stigma that it's Susie Homemaker, and you don't want I want to get a good sewing machine, man. God, I ain't enough time for all this stuff, man. I've got too many projects going. But the thing is, women actually are getting chopped off the workforce left and right in the United States. I guess unless they're transgender, like Caitlyn or something. I don't know. She's going to be making a lot of money, man, on that TV show. No, I'm going to be watching that shit, though. But anyway, I figured I'd mention that. But the thing is, we do have some serious problems in the economy. And it's like, there's a lot of issues that are going on where we do see cracks in a freaking wall. Like, in other words, on its stock market and everything, there's like, and I'm going to show the Happy Day Glow picture here because just think fun for the summer, man. I think the summer's going to precede, like if you're looking at the markets, it's going to be like preceding the big crash, okay? I don't think the oil prices are going to go up that much this summer, but I'm going to discuss that a little bit later in this video. So enjoy the summer, go places, ride your bike, and actually even if the oil prices and the gasoline prices go up, if you got a motorcycle, and you got it tuned right, it ain't going to affect you too much. So just enjoy the sun and the waves and all that other good stuff this summer. Because next winter might be cold as hell, But anyway, there's a lot of cracks in the system because a lot of the stocks are bought on margin. There's more margin debt on the stocks. There's a lot of illiquidity in the system. But then again, there's a lot of liquidity sitting on the sidelines, which always tells me those are the big vultures waiting for the crash to buy stuff pennies on the dollar when it freaking comes down, So, But also want to talk about is there's also now, I just said about the oil prices being low, but even without any kind of event happening in the Middle East, which it does look like there is events happening in the Middle East with ISIS and all this kind of stuff and whatever the hell's going on. But actually, I shouldn't even mention that because I think that's part of the game plan. See, I'm a guy, I don't want to portray the freaking game plan, whatever the hell it is, I'm really basically on the side of the United States I am on the side of the United States as long as they don't freaking screw up the Bill of Rights. They screw up the Bill of Rights, then yo-yo's on the top playing policy, you got a problem. Otherwise, I'm on the side of the United States. I know they got shrewd games going on where sometimes, something goes on in the Middle East, it looks like the other way around, and it's this and that. I don't know what the hell's going on, to tell you the truth. But the thing is, it looks like a lot of experts now are calling for higher oil prices by the end of this year, definitely before the end of this year, because the supposed huge glut in oil prices, in the oil markets, it could evaporate very quickly. And Saudi can't keep up with production. That was one thing, too. And, you might be riding some serious economic transportation when this crap goes up, because I figure, it should be about 75, 80 or more, maybe 90 or even 100. But, when it goes up, if you freaking have a shortage, you know what happens? It springs up way the hell more than it should. And, like last time when it was like up to over 140 a barrel back in mid-2008, like in June or I think July 4th, it hit at 147 a barrel on the WTI. The oil price, the gasoline prices were over $5 a gallon in California. But, if it does that today with all the freaking extra refinery cost and hidden inflation that they say we don't have, man, it'll be over $6. So you might be riding a Vespa, storing them Vespas and getting those 1975 Hondas out, and Volkswagen with the 1300 engines and the 18 extra cooling fins, 18 cooling fin extra cool engines instead of the stock 12. So, but the thing is, I think what's going to come about, though, is like when we get the winter time, this next winter, not only is it going to be the oil glut, it's going to disappear before then just by natural demand from, different nations throughout the world, not necessarily the United States, but China has already surpassed the United States in oil consumption. And then you got India, you got, Saudi middle class and all that type of stuff, the Iranian middle class, the Iraq, whatever middle class is in Iraq, I don't know, maybe ISIS is consuming more oil, with the war machine. So, it's creating more and more demand throughout the globe, not without even us in the United States having more demand for it. And I think next winter is going to be a super cold winter. I know some people are going to argue with me, but I'm not here to argue. I think that, and somebody say, I'm on crack for thinking that. I'm not on crack for thinking that. I know why I'm thinking that. It's just a normal cycle that happens every 200 years or so on the Earth. It goes cold and it gets warmer, and it gets cold and it gets warmer. It looks like we're going in a cold period, but that's going to create a lot more demand for oil, and of course for home heating, right? And also, that's also going to affect the metals prices. Actually, if oil goes up a lot, you're not going to see cheap silver, period. That's just how it is. It doesn't work that way on a daily basis, but if oil goes up a real lot due to a real hard demand around the world and other things that are going on, like wartime and big wars in the freaking Middle East, you're going to see the oil go up. So, but some of the ladies will say burn fat, not oil, right? So it's one thing you can say too, right? Actually, I'm an advocate of that. Burn fat, not oil. So anyway, but the thing is, eating disorder stuff. But anyway, I used to be into that a little bit. I don't know what the hell. I got on a kick and I overdid it when I got ribs one time. I was like, ribs, I got ribs. The hell, people saying I was anorexic. That was before. That was some years ago. But anyway, separate subject. I also want to point out, though, and here's the thigh gap. That's the one thing you always want to have, right? The thigh gap. You want to have the thigh gap. Just smoke cigarettes. But also I want to point out something else that there's a couple things. First off, I'm gonna get onto the real conspiracy yo-yo, the PhD guy, which I think he's a load of it. Tell you the truth, this Dr. Deagle, he was the one that was predicting that, if there could be a methane explosion when they had the Gulf oil spill, and it would cause a 400 mile an hour, 300-foot tsunami that would engulf all Louisiana, Mississippi, Florida, and it would make the San Madrid line would blow up. The guy's a lunatic, man. Well, I don't know what the hell the deal is with that guy, but I'm going to tell you this thing, this situation right now in this video, because I'm going to term it, what I said before about, the destruction of the USA. I'm not buying into that necessarily, but we never know what the future is. I'm not going to say that. I never know what the future is. I mean, the U.S. is actually building the Chinese military. It's been policy to build the Chinese military by the trade imbalance, and people on the top knew this, so I know they got something up their sleeve. They're not that stupid. When Nixon freaking opened up trade with China, this long-term strategy has been, they know what the hell is going on. They know what's going on. There is something to it. But this Dr. Deagle said, he actually had on his website, he showed that by the year 2025, the population of the United States, well, one time he had it at 69 million, later on he had it at 64 million, and the GDP was like a tiny, tiny fraction of what it was before, and the military was like minuscule. It was like nothing. It was like nothing to it. The military spending was like practically, it was like 2 or 3% or something. It was ridiculous of what it is today. That's what he had predicted for 2025. Now, I think the guy's full of it, and I actually think he's like one of those guys like Alex Jones, kind of working for the bad guys. And, PhDs usually are idiots a lot of times, it's, they're just hot air, The H stands for hot air, the D stands for dingbat, and the P stands for phony bullshit. But the thing is, I picked up another story. The retiring CEO of Cisco, that was on a major media, said that most of the businesses in the United States by 2025 would disappear. Now, he was talking about technology, because if you don't get the right technology, you're going to get chopped. You're going to get chopped in the competition. But then again, I started thinking, maybe he means a little bit more than that, too. Because, we got that TPP thing, that Trans-Pacific Partnership coming. It almost looks like, if I was a guessing or betting man, I would say that, it does look like the big corporations are all, and the guys on the top of the big corporations are conspiring to chop all the little people, man. All the small businesses. I think they are. I don't think that's BS. I don't think that's like a conspiracy theory, And they're trying to really squeeze out, anybody that's just a regular sole proprietor too. They are. That's one reason I even mentioned on the classic car stuff. I wouldn't be dealing with the big corporations to paint my car. $500 a gallon to restore a car. I'd be going into some guy that made their own paint someplace and for like less than 25% of the price or something. That's what I'd be doing. But I have to tell you that this economy kind of is a house of cards in a lot of ways, because not that it can't change right away. Like I said, it's never too late. One thing I always realize too, it's a shame that there's a lot of people that are like totally addicted to video games, for instance. There's people out there spend mega dollars in 40 hours a week plus on video games, and they're not doing nothing constructive. But that doesn't mean it's never too late. And I know you can get talent from doing video games by learning other things like running drones or something for the U.S. military. But the thing is, it's like, and there's some truth to the doom and gloomer stuff, man. I don't like playing it that way, though. I don't like playing it that way because I like, keep a positive attitude. If you don't keep positive attitude and you see the situation and, identify the situation and make the right move, and you're always worried about the situation. It's just like if you're on this bike and you're rolling down the road and you say, hey, a piece of rubber tire fell off of a freaking 18-wheeler. It's right there smack in the middle of the road. Well, you don't stare at it and panic. Basically you scan, you identify, you decide on the course of action, you predict the course of action, and then you execute the move, and then you follow through. You don't actually get like a deer, like a doe, staring at the headlights of the car, man. You say, holy shit, you see the car? You don't like stare at it. You kind of like look at it with your peripheral vision, and that's exactly how I think you would, these things. If I say any bad stuff on here, like it's scary. Hey, the economy's bad. It's got to be jump started or whatever the hell it is. You want to keep that in your peripheral vision. You want to keep that in the back of your head, but you don't want to have that as the main focus of your thoughts, because if that's the main focus of your thoughts, then you ain't going to get nothing done. You're going to be like, you know what I mean? But I think it's real, man. There's some shit going on here. And it wasn't the Dr. Deagle guy that got me alerted to this. It was the fact that who the hell was that guy's name? The guy that was retiring as the CEO for Cisco. Now, he was talking about technology. But then again, I start thinking, how the hell could even over half the companies disappear because they're not adopting technology? That's what he said, by 2025. I don't know about that. I don't know. He might have been hinting at something else. But, I also put it together that, the big corporations like TPP, they're trying to take over the whole damn, not the corporation TPP, but corporations that are behind the Trans-Pacific Partnership. They're trying to take over the aspects of everybody's lives. But, it's like, hey, maybe they will be waking up the sleeping giant. I don't know. Because I can tell you right now, because I don't think enough people have gotten... There's people getting disgruntled. But, I wouldn't just go out there in front of Wall Street and protest. That's bullshit. It's a waste of time. I would just I would go out and get tools, do whatever you got to do, make your own projects, do your own stuff. And basically, ignore Wall Street. They need you. You don't need them. They always come up to you, well, like, how much money you got? Well, how much is this worth and that? Well, it's $350,000. Oh, yeah. Well, you invested in here, blah, blah, blah. And you tell them to go fuck off. You know what I mean? Tell them to go fuck off. If it's a suit, tell them to go fuck off. If it's a suit and they come in your shop to want their car fixed, hey, you charge them extra. And they always do. That's what my cousin used to do all the time. He used to work in a trans shop with Lenny. Lenny in the trans shop, man. And, with he's like, somebody come in there. Yeah, we'll fix the transmission for this one over here because he's a working guy. He's a blue-collar worker. And say Mr. Polite Talking comes in there. We know he's a suit. That's the guy we rip off. And then you put, nice paint on a transmission, so it looks like brand new. And, it doesn't mean you did a lot of stuff on the inside, but you got to write a bunch of stuff on the invoice that you did. I did this, I did that, pressure check, knew this, knew that, new springs, blah, blah, blah. In the valve body. That was before they had electronic shit. So that's what you do. Anyway. It's almost like, if you're restoring cars, charge the Wall Street bastard $150 an hour for it to restore the car. And make sure you get paid up front and you're on a retainer contract of $15,000 a month. And you'll get 100 hours out of that. That's what you do, man. That's what you do, right? So that's how you fight it back, man. You give them the axe right back, right? Are you listening, Pete from Southwest Carrot Custom? That's a guy I recommend. That's about the only channel I actually watch a lot with on YouTube. I always watch the DIY Auto School and Southwest Rod and Custom, Southwest and Rod and Custom Pete, because he's a stand-up guy. But yeah, that's what he's got to do. He's got to get a client. Call it a client. Don't call it a restoration. Call it a client from Wall Street. Get on a retainer. Get an old rust bucket from up in New Jersey. Tell him, yeah, I'm going to restore this car for you. I want $15,000 a month. That means I'm going to put 100 hours into it. $150 an hour. Then you make some money. But I don't think he does that kind of shit because that's what professionals do. But anyway, that's the way to get him back, man. Just like Lenny at the trans shop and my cousin. So, anyway, I'll just leave you with this word. Because if it gets down to, oil prices are going up and doom and gloom and the food prices are going up. Hey, look at the bright side. Burn fat, not oil, right? You'd be pedaling your bike, and you'd be going anorexic. Getting that thigh gap because the food prices are so damn high. But there's always cigarettes, and you can always roll your own, right? Out of the stuff you grow in your backyard. So, I don't know. There is some doom and gloom on the horizon. But again, I want to put it to you like this: just like when you're riding a motorcycle, you want to scan the situation, you want to, identify the problem, you want to predict what's going to happen, you want to make a decision on what's going to happen, you want to execute the move, and you want to follow through. You don't want to be totally scared like Alex Jones is always freaking making people always scared, and they're like keeping them on the edge of the seat, and because you don't think. When you're constantly fearful, you don't think. There's always been problems, right? Tammany Hall way back when, the railroads, the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, the War of 1812, blah, blah, blah. There's always been shit going on, We still got it pretty damn good over here in the USA because we got that Bill of Rights. And we're going to stick with that damn thing. And we're going to enforce it if we got to, if we even have to. You know what I mean? We're going to make sure we'll put their feet to the fire with that shit. You know what I mean? We're going to make sure they stay with their Bill of Rights. Or else. Chop, chop.